the commentary team. Let us know in the chat if you can hear us. I know Dean's in the shadows. He's just looking for a safe spot to switch his light on so he can join us properly. So let us know if you can see us in the chat. Just keep going, keep going.
Yeah, I'll be there soon, guys. Apologies.
It's all right, man. Thanks to those that have just joined us. Like I said, this is the November Heist pre-show. We're here with Dean White, the main man, the promoter, the guy that's putting the show on. We're here with the MC, Hoss Rageep, and we're here with Ben Mulligan, who's also part of the commentary team. So thank you guys for joining in. Is that your sat nav? Bass, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Right then, Dean, we're gonna. See, it looks like I'm encouraging driving, and that obviously you're on your hands free, aren't you? My man's connection's gone. Hoss, anyway, for our guests, introduce yourself. Let us know a little bit about you and what you're going to be doing on the show come Saturday while we're waiting for Dean to connect back.
Hey everyone, I'm Hoss Rageep. I'm the former London Underground train station worker where I announced trains in as boxers in 2019, and it went viral, went crazy. Ended up being on ITV News, BBC News, Sky News this morning. It went massive at the time, and which led for me to be a professional master of ceremonies, a voice actor, and yeah. So this show, Dean reached out to me, and I'm just really happy and grateful to have this opportunity. So I'll be the MC for the night and make the crowd turn up. That's what I do.
Yeah, we're going to definitely come back to that. So thank you very much for joining us, Hoss. We know that it's busy, it's show week. We're going to move on. I want to know about that viral thing, actually, because I didn't actually do my homework. So I need to know a little bit more about that. But before that, we're going to jump on to Ben. Ben, introduce yourself. Ben is the MC. Ben is commentary, just like myself. Yeah. We're going to be sat there talking about the fighters. Ben, introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about you and your boxing background.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Ben Mulligan, but people in the boxing world might know me as Sean Ben Mulligan. I had to change my name when I turned professional. There was another fighter in Ireland with the same name, Ben Mulligan. I had to change it to Sean. Yeah, I had 11 pro fights, was forced to retire at the end of 2019. I was due to box December the 7th, and I found out the week before from a brain scan a couple of weeks before that obviously I had a change on my scan. At first I thought I'd be okay, and maybe it was just a change of age, or obviously we know the 3D scanners now that the fighters have to obviously get into to make sure they're safe to box. They pick everything up, which is right because of the danger of the sport. So I thought I'd be okay, but after having obviously further checks and going through seeing different neurologists, radiologists, I had septal separation. My membrane had separated in my brain, so unfortunately I was forced to retire early. But since retiring now, as I retired, COVID hit, so I was sort of in the process of setting my own amateur club up in Manchester, in obviously the area where I live in Manchester. But I've had to put that on the back burner now with obviously COVID. But it's worked out pretty well because obviously I'm involved now at the gym where I trained, Colliston Moston, as a professional, helping Pat Barrett and Thomas McDonough out with the amateurs of an evening. So I'm gaining good experience there now. I'm in there every day, morning and night, with obviously all the pros, and then the amateurs at night. So I'm still living a dream, really. I'm still loving what I'm doing, and obviously it's just I'm on the other side of the ropes now. But things are good. Things are good, and
what an asset.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And then obviously, I'm involved. Obviously, getting the opportunity to do things like this. Abs got on me a few weeks ago, and said, would I be interested in? Of course, I jumped at the opportunity because I love boxing and, you know, I love talking about boxing. So, yeah, thanks to obviously yourself, Abs, yourself, Dean, everyone that's part of the show for inviting me down to help with commentary.
And over to yourself, Dean, your show, your first show. You've given all of us an opportunity. Come on, talk to us about this, the November Heist. How did it start?
Do you know what? I've been planning this for a long time, to be honest. I think I mentioned it to Huss as well, a little while back. But COVID struck, kind of messed everything up. But you know what? I think because of COVID, it made me better prepared. I think beforehand I was on it, but I wasn't. And then a few things, you know, talking to people, talking to my friends, and just kind of having more confidence in saying, you know what? You know, I'm going to do this, talking about it, actually being about it is something different, and just taking a leap of faith and saying, you know what, I'm going to get this done. And, you know, I did that, but like I said, my guy, he applied for the promoter's license. We had a few problems, but then I got some good friends in some decent places, so they kind of, you know, tickled the board and said, listen, he's a good guy, and they kind of eased off, because they weren't going to let us have the license. I don't know what their issue was, but maybe I do know what their issue is, but anyway, that's another story. But they weren't giving us the license and giving us a bit of a struggle and a fight. And in the end, we've got it. And now they're very supportive, the board. Robert Smith, got to give him another shout out, because he's opened up a little bit more, and now he's kind of more receptive to what I'm planning to do. And I reached out to you, and then you mentioned this gentleman here. Is it Ben, yeah? Ben Mulligan.
Ben, yeah.
She talks very highly about you. So I said, look, if you think it's good and he understands the game, you know what, I'm going to go with your experience and bring that on board. But look, what I'm looking to do is I'm looking to do some other stuff. Right now, we've got OK backing. You know, we've got our guys who's putting money in, and, you know, we're putting our own money, and then got good sponsors. But we're going to bring this on slowly and try and get this to that TV level. And the guys I've got are saying, look, I just need to have a few shows and see if they can get me TV. It's not a foregone conclusion, but that's where the angle is. And once I get to that, you know, that's the ideal situation. And then obviously we've got the team here. We just move on and do what we're doing. But right now it's a building process. I've got to be, you know, quite shrewd with the money. I put the money in the show, so when you see the show, you'll understand, you know, and you'll see that we've spent a few bob. But that's because we want to have the aesthetic look. And then when people say, well, if this is what he's done with his own money, what would he do with TV money? You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's it. And I want it to look good, because I'm a perfectionist. I like to look good anyway. So I want to put on a show, make it look good, make people come and enjoy themselves and have a good night out, not just with the boxing, with maybe some of the entertainment things we're going to try and do on the night. So, and like Huss says, I want Huss to turn up, give them the swag on the mic, and make sure he lifts the roof off. You get me? See, you know what I'm saying? I know you're going to do your thing, and I know you lot, I got confidence. You just got to build. Like, look, if you make a mistake, don't worry about the mistake. Just go straight through and carry on. Because you see this thing, you get confidence, but obviously you got to watch, figure out, you know, watch someone and you think, okay, I hear how they do this commentary. You talk about stuff, but like I said, if you make a mistake, it's not about worrying about it and fussing. Just kind of get past that and carry on. If you like talking about boxing, I'm sure, you know, October, you're getting a lot of coverage. You're everywhere, getting busy. Ben, you're saying you like to talk and you understand the game.
Of course, man.
You know, some people get stuck up on the area and go, oh, sorry about that, I made a mistake. Just carry on. If you get the name wrong, just keep talking and go past that. We're only human. No one's going to kill you. Eventually, when you are talking, you're going to be able to talk and talk fluid throughout the duration and not make a mistake. No one's expecting you to have a perfect performance, but obviously in yourself, you're going to probably try and say, I'm going to try and ace it. And if you do, you do. But you've got to give yourself that positive outlook. But if it is a mistake, don't worry about it. Just let it. It's like water off a duck's back and just crack on. And I'm hoping, you know, Saturday night's going to be a blinded success. At the minute, it's looking amazing. We've got 9 fights. What I need to do, I need to send you guys the name, so you can kind of start to learn the names from now, as opposed to on the day. I guess even I don't know the
7.
names, all of the people. So
I've got
yeah,
7.
well, you know that's me. I'm showbiz. I've added more people. Yeah, I think we've added.
Have you?
Yeah, no, we've added a further 2.
Right.
Yeah, I know. Originally it was 7, and we've got 2 more that's been sanctioned by the board today. So I think we're gonna have a basically a full card. A full card is 10. Now it's gone up to 12. But yeah.
So how was it for you to get like the fighters then? Because obviously
so
you've got a lot of
you guys
fighters
got you guys got your work cut out.
No, I don't mind that. I'm looking. This is what I want to do. That's not a problem for me. What I was going to do is throw back to you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Have I gone? Is my reception gone?
No, I can hear you.
I can.
It's Dean.
I think it's just Dean.
He's in some bush somewhere, isn't he? Yeah, his reception's gone. He's going to pop in and out. That's what happens when you're outdoors. I was going to ask him how he found it getting the fighters. No doubt that's not easy to do, but we've got loads of fighters, as you know, Ben, that are out there that want to fight.
Exactly. Sorry, I'm not in the greatest area. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but you keep cutting in and out. Now you've gone again. No, I can't hear. Is someone trying to ring you? See, I can't hear you. Yeah, he's going to keep going in and out. I was saying it's the fighters want to get out there, don't they? They just want to get out and showcase. And I'm sure you will know, Ben, a little bit from obviously the shows that you've been involved in with Pat, that it's not something that's easy that you can just get over the line straight away.
No, definitely not. I mean, I see it more now from being on the other side of the ropes. Obviously, I'm by Pat's side every day, so I see, from boxing on his shows and coming through it all myself. Sort of when you're actually involved in it and when you're fighting, you don't see the business side as much because you're not focusing on that. You're focusing on preparing for the fight, aren't you? But now, like I say, I'm not fighting, so like I say, being a coach and seeing more what goes on with the business side of the sport, and obviously. Obviously,
one sec, Dean, can you hear us? Just gonna. Boy, he's just silent. Can you hear us at all? No, he's just gonna keep cutting out. Yeah, like you said, you're on the other side of it and you're seeing it. But for Dean, this is his very first show.
It's tough, man.
So
and
it's
I respect anyone. I respect, Dean. I respect anyone that's willing to take, anything's a risk in it, but to take that risk to put a boxing show on without television, I'm not sure obviously like what he's got behind him in terms of sponsorships and stuff, but it's hard, and as people that know boxing know that, without your big without television backing you, without that big backing, it's hard to make money on these shows. And obviously Dean, I can see that Dean's doing this because he's got a passion for the sport, and just like what Pat Barrett's doing. Pat Barrett has never made a penny on any of these shows. If anything, he has. He's lost fortunes. But you see what he's done now with like Lyndon and Zelfa. He built them up on his own shows, and they're now on the fringe of fighting for world titles. So if you asked him, was it worth it? He'd say yeah. And he's doing that now for other fighters, and his plan is to get other fighters from scratch to where Lyndon and Zelfa have got to, and I believe he will do. Obviously, the fighters have got to play their part, but I respect to Dean. That's why I know he'll probably be. This is a massive night for him. This is as big as what it is for the boxers making the debut, or for any fighter that's fighting. So, full credit to him, and credit to anyone that makes that jump to put a show on.
Yeah, 100%, because he has been running up and down the place, sorting out, getting the opponents. I bumped into him at a few shows myself where he's actively looking for opponents for the fighters that he's got. He's out there, he's matchmaking, he's running 100 miles an hour. I've literally had to try and claw him in to come into this today, even though obviously we'd arranged it a week earlier. So he is literally running around, and I get it. He's kind of similar to myself. There's that trust issue where you know that certain things you've just got to do yourself, because you can't really rely on other people, because when you do, they let you down, and then you're there left with your pants down, and so sometimes you've just got to go and get on with it and do it yourself. Do you know what I mean? But it's a massive opportunity. Commentary is something that I've always wanted to do. Obviously, Ben and I, we've had combos about boxing. We understand the sport. Obviously, you being a fighter and me just being a little bit more than a casual fan. But Hoss, I'm going to jump back onto yourself. You said something went viral with the MCing. How did that come about?
Well, I was working at Bank Station for the DLR for the DLR company, the Docklands Light Railway, and then when we was working there, like I had to do training. I think it was for a month before we started till we got licensed to work at the station. And then during that training, I remember there was one segment of it where they promote doing personalized announcements if you can, and long as you're not swearing, not talking about religion or any like political views, basically. So then and then there was one guy on the DLR who went viral before I even joined, and he was doing Barry White sort of impressions. No, it was good. It was good. He did Barry White impressions but he was on the train, whereas I was at the station only. And then, you know, peak times, like if we're talking about 6 PM, there will be like 300 people every 7 minutes on this platform. So it was packed, and you know, and so I'll do like a normal announcement, and you'll be surprised on how many people don't listen due to work and headphones, earphones. No one's really listening when I was doing a normal one. So like, then I thought, you know, what can I do to get everyone's attention? And you know, I've got a film school background from screenwriting and doing voices, and then I just thought, you know, no one gets a better introduction than a boxer. So I put the two together, and then I just started introducing every train as a boxing champion.
Okay.
And then before I know it, Michael Buffers retweeted the video.
Oh wow!
Chisora retweeted the video. Jimmy Lennon Jr. liked it, and then that went on for about 3 days, I remember, and then it just blew. Then my phone just didn't stop. I remember I had to turn it on, like not even turn it off. I just like threw it and just like I can't look at it anymore. I'll go away for 2 minutes, come back, and there's like 100 and something notifications on Twitter, Instagram, everything. It's crazy.
Nice one.
And then from there, it led for I did my first show with MTK. So then it led for me to go get licensed by the board. I found out I needed a license, and then I went and got licensed, passed my interview first time, and then I had a show with MTK, my first one, which was in Kent. And I think it was a Southern Area title. I can't remember. And then my second show was with Warren Boxing Management, where I got to announce Casey Kadimi versus Pedro Matos, which was WBO European Super Flyweight title. So that was my first title announcement fight. And then after that, COVID hit. So, you know, it sort of like put a stop in the road for me.
Yeah.
You know, then I've been doing other stuff in films and stuff like that as well.
Yeah. Now, you know, I'm going to ask you then, can you do the voice for us, but can you announce a fight? I'm going to say this fighter only because I've spoke to him before, George Mitchell is a middleweight, 1-0.
1-0. Has he got
Yeah.
any nicknames or?
Not that I'm aware of.
So George Mitchell.
Yeah.
George Mitchell, 1-0.
George Mitchell, 1-0. And he's a middleweight. I just want to hear how it sounds.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing to you. How's that sound?
Wow. Literally, I thought you had something playing in the background.
No, that's the voice, man. It's one of many. One of many. I do voices for days.
It's a special talent, that.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
It's a special talent.
So how did you
come about doing that? Ben. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, it's amazing how going to working for the railway on you know, you said the tube station, didn't you?
Yeah, bank station.
For the tube, I took you to introducing being an MC at boxing shows. It's mad, isn't it? Because you probably never would have thought yourself when you started doing that job that was ever going to happen.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I mean, you know, because I do loads of voices, like my own characters. I could do impressions, and you know, like I didn't even know I could do that sort of boxing style voice until once, which was years before I got the job, where I did it in the shower by accident, and I was
lots of things start in the shower.
It's like singing, man.
I swear, because I did in the shower. I did Michael Buffer's "Let's Get Ready to Rumble." I just thought, you know what, it just come to my head. Let me just do it, see how it sounds when I was in the shower, and I'd done it, and I was like, oh, let's get ready to rumble, and I was like, shit, you know what? Oh, sorry for swearing.
Don't worry about that.
I was like, wow, like I was like, I can do that, you know. But then I never touched on it for years. I never touched on it for years until I got the idea to do it on the trains. So that was the seed, and then took years later to flourish.
Have you ever seen a guy on YouTube called Ari Spears?
Ari Spears, yeah.
Ari Spears, unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's an impressionist.
What, is he another MC? Oh right, okay.
I'll send you a link later. He does like
he can rap like Snoop Dogg. He can rap like DMX, LL Cool J. He's really good.
He just sounds exactly like him.
He's good.
So how did Dean reach out to you then, Hoss, for this? Somebody's put in the chat a lovely comment, and I love that comment. Ash Money's put in the chat Rasclat, and I don't think there's anything else. That was my face as well, but I just didn't say the words. So thanks for that. I had to put it up on the screen. And somebody's put in, is that Kareem Benzema?
Yeah, look a bit similar, you know.
Yeah, that ain't bad.
Who's that then? Come on, you got to tell me.
United signed him years ago.
He was a football player.
Wow. Okay. So no, it isn't Big Boss Man, but clearly there's a
So what did you ask? How did me? And Dean...
how was the link with Dean then?
Right. This story. First of all, I just want to say a massive respect and RIP to Heavy D and to Pro Bees. Because if it weren't for them two, I wouldn't have met Dean at all.
Oh, is that how the link was then?
Because I got pretty close with Heavy D, and we were doing bits together, and then he was doing the podcast with Pro Bees and Dean, doing the Double D podcast.
I remember that,
or Triple D or Double D. So they were doing that podcast, and then Heavy D invited me on there, and then I remember me and him meeting up, and then I drove down there, and then I met Pro Bees and Dean, you know, and we done that one episode podcast, and then that's how the link up happened, man, and. Yeah, then sadly Heavy D left us, sadly. And then Probies as well. And it's like it was a bit like I don't even know how to touch base on that, you know, because like when I look at it, there was 4 of us in that room and now there's 2 of us. You know what I mean?
You know what? It's mad.
It's like that.
Sad.
That was some madness, you know, and you know, just all I can say is just rest in peace to both of them and condolences to their families, man. And if it 100%. weren't for them, I wouldn't have met Dean, and shortly after Heavy D passed, I was messaging Pro Bs, and then he messaged me saying, you know, Dean is looking for an MC. You still doing it? Because this was in the COVID times as well.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, like, I'm still doing it. I renewed my license at the time as well. And yeah, I'm looking to do it. And then I didn't hear nothing for a while. And then Dean messaged me if I'm willing to do it. And you know, I was just like grateful. Yeah. And then like when we were speaking, I told him, you know, I got another show at York Hall, and the previous Saturday I had the show and I teared it up there, and then Dean came down to the show, so he saw me live, you know, and then I just remember announcing the winner of the last fight, and I'm getting out the ring, and then he's the first person I see there, you know.
You can't miss him anyway, can you?
No, of course. You see him always standing out above the crowd. You would always see him if he's there. And yeah, man, we had a greet, and yeah, man, I'm just super happy and stoked that, you know, I've been given this opportunity, and any performance I do or whatever, anywhere performance, like regardless of how many people in the crowd or what I've even done a behind closed doors show in Liverpool, you know, no crowd at all, you know, so I've done that as well during COVID. So like, just regardless, what you can expect from me is, you know, when I'm doing my performances, I've always got it in the back of my mind, like, and imagine I'm doing this for the whole world.
Yeah, you gotta have that.
So regardless if there's crowd or not, you would always see me performing my best, and that's all that matters to me.
Yeah.
That's the attitude you gotta have, in it, because I mean, look at the fighters fighting behind closed doors. You know, fair enough, the camera's there and it's being broadcast, but the magic of the audience isn't there, is it? So you have to have that mindset anyway. You've got to do your best all the time. I mean myself, this is the first opportunity for myself to do commentary. Have I got a clue about commentary? I've listened to it. I do my own commentary when the fights are on through Instagram, but they're written. You know, so this is my first opportunity to actually get on the mic and talk live while the fight's happening. You know, and now I'm sitting here thinking, I wonder if I'll be the biased one. I wonder if I'll have my favourite fighter. I wonder what I'm going to sound like. And it's like, okay, the tables are turning. Now it's your turn in the hot seat. I don't know, Ben, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I feel the same. I feel that with commentary, again, I've done bits of commentary on like Black Flash shows and a couple of other shows. I've not got like massive experience myself, but I just feel like you've got to, if you look at a good commentator, whether it's in boxing, whether it's in football, the best commentators are honest. Obviously, you can't start slating people and really like voicing your opinion. You can't, you know, you've got to sort of, and you can't be biased to anyone. But I just feel like the best commentators are as honest as they can be. Do you know what I mean? I was having this chat last night with my dad. I was watching a football. United was playing, and Paul Scholes is obviously doing punditry, and he's very honest. Obviously, even he might be a little bit biased because it was a United match, and obviously he's a United fan. He's played for United, but he's honest in what he says. You know, he's straight to the point, and I think it's the same with the boxing. I just feel like you certainly can't be biased towards anyone, because obviously you're commentating to an audience that are supporting it. You know, supporting either fighter, so that wouldn't be fair, would it? But I feel like you've got to just be honest and just sort of say what the people that are watching what are hearing, it really. Do you know what I mean? And just break the fight down. Say what you see, and sort of like give your opinion on the fight of how you feel, whether it is right or wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
You look at the likes of Adam Smith, people like that, who have been, you know, the commentators that have been on the big shows and stuff like that, and make it sound so easy and natural, don't they? And I think they, I remember watching an interview with Adam Smith about this, and I remember him saying like, it's just like he treats it like he's just sat in a living room chatting to, say, me or you, how he would do if he was watching a fight. And I think that's the way, the best way to be.
Yeah,
in reason,
absolutely.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it anyway, because like I said, it's something that I've done on my own when I watch the fights at home. So it's a massive opportunity that I'm grateful for. But yeah, I just wanted to touch back on what Huss was saying about Heavy D, because I used to watch the pod, so I know that Pro Bees was, active. I can remember him pulling up in car parks, going to, link like Heavy D, then Dean as well. And then it's like, I remember when Heavy D passed, because I'd never spoken to him, but I'd spoken to Pro Bees. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. XYZ just gone just like that, whatever. And then then I remember, obviously, Pro Bees and I are massive hip hop fans, really into hip hop, so we'd often speak on Instagram about hip hop artists, etc., etc. And
we used to tag and share our Wu-Tang posts, me and Pro Bees.
Yeah. And then DMX passed. And that was massive, because obviously when I was listening to hip hop hard, it was like DMX. It was all that, the Rough Riders. It was all the East Side stuff that I listened to.
Hot, Flesh of My Flesh. Yeah.
And it's like, we were saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe that, DMX has gone. And then you turn around and then, then it's Pro Bees. And I'm like, what? Yeah. So it's just one of them things that, to touch on it and to switch it into a positive, that, he was a massive influence on YouTube, massively involved in the boxing, a helpful person, a kind person. He'd often reached out to me and said, if I needed any help, just holler at him or whatever. But the thing is, if it was me, obviously I can't speak for him, but if it was me, you have to carry on. You have to push through, because I can't imagine him the way he was with everybody that would want the world to stop. Do you know what I mean? He was someone that was always pushing people forward, driving people to do their best. You've seen the people that he sat and spoke to. He was an absolute credit to the YouTube community. He's got Shaz has set up the Pet Talk Boys 21. They're out now doing their beats. They were around anyway, but they've come to the forefront. And Shazmak has set that up. So that channel's, going to start to flourish as they're getting out and about into the gyms and carrying on the legacy under the Pet Talk name, which is, a really good thing. The fighters on the card, then moving back onto the fighters, I've got Tony Banj, Zig Star, a heavyweight. I think he's a debutant. George Mitchell, middleweight 1-0, MTK fighter. I spoke to him before. I know how he fights. He's a very aggressive fighter, a good solid engine, and technical as well. I've seen him. I've been in the gym with him training, so I know that he's going to provide a very entertaining fight. And like I said, I'm not going to be biased, but I'll leave it as that. We've got Aaron Prosper from the Peacock Gym. I can't remember if he's a debutant, but he's also an MTK fighter. He might be 1-0 as well. We've got Alf Clegg, that's a debutant. Adrian Redmond, who fights out of Xavier Miller's stable, a very good, solid stable. They've got Yusuf Kamari and Dillian White in that stable. They've got the first lady of Dillian White's crew as well, Sadem Emma, who's going to be making her debut soon. A female welterweight, one to watch out for. She's powerful. So Adrian Redmond comes out of that stable. So he's coming out of a good, solid stable with Xavier Miller and Nicholas Premper, and they are at IQ Boxing. And then we've got Luke Fearon, who's a featherweight. So we've got a little bit of a homework to do around the fighters, which no doubt we'll get that done by Saturday. But one of the questions that's coming in, I'm going to throw it at Ben. GOAT, greatest of all time, boxer, pound for pound. Who's it for you, Ben?
I don't know. It's a hard one. It's like when people ask me who's my favourite all-time fighter. obviously of my generation, I'd have to say Floyd Mayweather of my generation, for who I can remember. But the greatest of all time, obviously the obvious, Muhammad Ali. But I'd have to say Sugar Ray Leonard's got to be in there. It's
tricky, isn't it?
I couldn't really say there's that definite one. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's, you know, Sugar Ray Leonard. It's like saying who would have won, Sugar Ray Leonard or Floyd Mayweather.
Because you mute, because someone's called you, you'll have to come out and come back in. That's how it works. When the calls come up, it destroys it. So you have to come out and come back in. So I'll throw it over to Hoss then, who's your pound for pound, while Ben tries to come out and come back in.
Sorry, I lost you there. The phone.
Oh, that's all right.
I'm back. Yeah. So I couldn't really say. So I am sort of sitting on a fence, but it would have to be Big Boss Man asked. Big Boss Man, it'd have to be Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, or Floyd Mayweather. One of them three, definitely. And also now, if you look at the generation that we're in now, these fighters coming through that could, you know, be knocking on the door to sort of challenge them guys. As you know, look at the fighters we've got at the minute. Now, boxing's thriving. Boxing's better than it's ever been now. You know, look at the fighters that are coming through now. Even in Britain, if you always look like years ago, in Britain, we always sort of like, it was always in America. Everything was always America, you know. But look at the fighters now that, you know, I reckon it's helping, obviously, with the platform we've got over here now, with like Eddie and DAZN, you know, Frank Warren with BT. And obviously, this is where you've got to give credit to Sky Sports Boxer now. Yeah, that's another platform. And obviously, let's not forget, you know, the likes of the smaller promoters, because without these as well, a lot of these fighters wouldn't be getting to where they're getting to. You know, your big promoters take credit for all these fighters, but some of these have built up on these smaller shows. Again, going back to Zelfa and Linden, they've built up on these smaller shows, and they're now knocking on the door for world titles. So, but without your smaller promoters, like I'm going back to Pat before, without being biased, because Pat's my guy.
Yeah, it's your neck of the woods, isn't it? Yeah.
Of course it is. And like, you know, Dean, I'd say, for instance, a debutant on his show, and he boxes on his show again and builds him up, or fighters that have boxed before, 100%. They get to that level, then he's got to take massive credit for getting them to where they get to. So, but definitely now in this country, we've got fighters in Britain that world-class fighters that can go over to America and beat the top Yanks and win world titles. We've done it, but a lot of fighters like stateside, like, you know, your Teofimo Lopez's of the world, Gervonta Davis, these guys are fighters that can be up there in these pound for pound greats. You know what I mean? Because
I like Gervonta Davis.
Yeah, you know, Shakur Stevenson, Lomachenko, he's got to be in there. Just there's a lot of fighters out there now, and these fighters in Britain as well. That obviously Canelo, they could be here all day now, couldn't we? But boxing's Friday.
It is 100%, and I'll definitely back you up on the Brits coming through as well. British boxing is absolutely thriving. I'm passionate, excited about the fighters that we've got coming through. It's so nice to see that the platforms are building. We do need the small hall shows, because not everyone's going to get the break and go onto the massive platform straight away. Not everyone's got that amateur pedigree. Not everyone's been to GB or been on the Team GB squad. Fighters all take different routes into boxing. Fantastic amateurs can turn out to be not the best pros, and it works like that. Boxing is a funny one, you know. So the small hall to me is something where my heart will always lie, because it gives the fighters opportunities. The fighters that are sat at home thinking, flipping heck, I could do that. I could beat him, but they're not getting the opportunity. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But jumping back to the pound for pound, who's yours then, boss?
I'll just have to. There's always this one guy, and I'll just have to say Mike Tyson, man.
Do you know what? I can't believe I didn't mention Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson for me, growing up.
Yeah.
Was yeah, man, he was the one. I'm a huge Street Fighter fan as well, so they based Balrog off him anyway. So it was just.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so like Mike Tyson for me.
Yeah.
So do you
In his
think
prime.
a prime Mike Tyson would have beat a prime Ali?
Yeah, I believe so. Even though he won't admit it. Which I get. I mean, like, look, man, Ali is one of the greatest of all time. You know what I mean? There's no denying that. But I think if no one knew who these people were and they didn't know who they were, but they had their skills that they did when they were both in their prime, I think Tyson would win.
Yeah. Do you know what? As well, I just need to get it in there because I've just thought then on the subject of heavyweights, I didn't even mention Tyson Fury. I remember going about pound for pound fighters now, and I'm mentioning fighters from Britain. Look at Tyson. Do you know, he's
Tyson Fury is amazing,
unbelievable, and obviously with what he's done now, the way he's come back from what he's come back from to go and beat Wilder. He's beaten 3 times. Let's have it right.
I
to do what
believe
he's done. He's definitely got to be up there. Do you know what I mean? And that says it all, doesn't it? I don't see anybody now in the heavyweight division beating Tyson Fury, but I'll have to agree with you, Huss, that Mike Tyson was a dangerous man. Mike Tyson in his prime, for me, beats.
I mean, like when Mike Tyson had Cus D'Amato around, and even after when Cus passed, and having Kevin Rooney in his corner, he was unbeatable. As soon as he sacked Kevin Rooney and Don King and Robin Givens, you know, like Robin Givens basically set up the jab for Don King to come with a right hook after, you know, and you know, it just ruined Tyson's career, I believe. Then the whole the rape charge and all of that.
Yeah, of course. Money, man.
Tyson's the type of person that needed that guidance, you know, and he was getting that with Kevin Rooney. And I mean, on the night of the Berbick fight, forget it. I don't think no one will beat Tyson on that night. That night of the Berbick fight, forget it.
See, I'm inclined to agree with what Big Boss Man's just put in there. No chance Tyson beats Ali. Ali jabs Tyson's face off. That's why I was sitting there thinking, I don't know, you know, because Ali was quick. He was quick. He was in and out. He was at them flurry of shots. Yeah, I know Tyson hunts you down and he's like whack, whack, whack. But I don't know. I think Tyson would have just been able to get in and box and get out and move. He's a box and move. So I'm inclined to agree.
The peekaboo style when. We could really go into a mad debate about this.
It's a big statement, but they say, don't they, a good boxer.
Like, look at I tell you what,
beats a good fighter.
I tell you what, with the whole Tyson thing, I'm saying about the Berbick fight, but my actual greatest Tyson knockout was against a guy called Gross. Yeah, watch how he knocks out Gross, and before he does knock him out, he just bobs and weaves about 13 punches consecutively and then just lands one and he was finished. So like the way Tyson moved for a heavyweight defied the law of physics. I don't care what people say at the time.
Short and stocky, but then you could say the same thing about Tyson Fury as well.
Yeah, definitely. But Tyson was near to the canvas, really low, looking up at his opponent and still dodging shots from down there and then come up. Like, I don't know, man. We could debate about it.
Well, my favourite is Joe Louis. It's Joe Louis and Mike Tyson. Those are my favourites. The Bronze Bomber. I always said if I was born back in his times, I probably would have ended up marrying him. He was definitely my favourite.
Wasn't Joe Louis trained by Cus as well, or have I got that mixed up?
Nah.
There was one guy that was trained, another world champion. I think it was. I'd have to look up into it.
Let's have a look. Tyson Fury is potentially one of the greatest, beating low-skilled boxer 3 times doesn't justify that for me. And you know what, Ash? You've got a point.
I was about to say that.
You're as good as your last opponent that you beat. But the thing is, with boxing, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ben, you've got experience, you're a fighter. You can, two fighters have boxed and won their fights and have fought okay fighters, not anybody special, but okay fighters, yeah? But they haven't necessarily fought anyone that's on the same like high level as them. So this is when you have obviously Fury coming back and Wilder, and they're both, like you say, at that level. But shouldn't the test start now to see who they face next? Because Fury, no doubt, has been the toughest opponent that Wilder's ever faced, 100%. And with the reputation that Wilder came with, you could say the same for Tyson Fury. But I think sometimes we get complacent when we say, yeah, he's definitely going to beat that person, or yeah, how do we know that? Because you're only as good as the last opponent that you beat. And with heavyweight boxing, it's unpredictable. I put my hands up and I thought that AJ was going to knock out Usyk. I thought he was going to go in there, beat him up and knock him out. I wasn't discrediting Usyk's skills at all, but I just thought, I remember the Chisora fight.
And he could have done it. He could have done that as well.
I got it wrong. So that's why now it's sort of like, I'm not even making those brave predictions anymore. I'm just sitting down thinking, let me just wait and see what happens. Because you just don't know.
You know, with me, I've always said, yeah, even though obviously I've boxed my whole life and I've been involved in, but it doesn't matter. I've always sat on the fence when it comes to fights. Like, people have asked me, who do you think's going to win this fight? What's your opinion on this fight? And I've never ever, I've always sat on the fence. And someone asked me, a few people asked me about the Joshua and Usyk fight. And again, I sat on the fence and I said, Joshua knocks him out or Usyk outboxes him. Right? Now, obviously, that's the obvious. Well, because Joshua was never going to outbox him. So, again, I was sitting on the fence, and then as the fight was going on, when it got to about round 4, round 5, I'm still saying to people, edging towards Joshua knocks him out because of going off the Chisora performance. Chisora was throwing a big over right hand and then big left up, and he was missing by, millimeters. And that was only because of his age, and his timing wasn't there because of, he's been in a lot of hard fights and he's getting on now a little bit. So, for me, Joshua still could have knocked. I still don't feel wrong on my opinion. I just feel that Joshua just wasn't getting told the right advice and wasn't believing in what he could do enough, sort of thing. He was trying to, if I just feel like if he would have been feinting a little bit more and trying to set the shots up and to get his feet into to throw them big shots, he could have landed. And like I've always been taught, like Pat Barrett, who was one of the best punchers, obviously a light welter out of this country, and one thing he always told us: follow through, and don't throw one, don't throw two, throw three, because if the first two miss, the last one will land. And I think that's what Joshua was lacking, that confidence to commit.
Yeah, and I will say, it just seemed hesitant.
Yeah, he wasn't committing, and he was
to follow through. Yeah,
missing opportunities and stuff like that. And obviously, because of that reason, Usyk outboxed him. So what I said and what what you said yourself there, we wasn't wrong. Like I say, as the fight got to midway through, I'm still saying to people, they'll knock him out here. Because that Usyk, he's too straight. His legs are very straight for a heavyweight. He's not got the best reflexes. Don't get me wrong. He's super talented. But
his feet. I liked his feet.
A good he's got good feet. Very, very. That's his best attribute. But I feel a good pressure fighter at heavyweight, who's a natural heavyweight, can knock Usyk out. Someone like Usyk wouldn't have gone. Usyk wouldn't have gone 3 rounds with Mike Tyson. Prime Mike Tyson. That's just my opinion. And that's maybe a big statement because I don't really put my neck on the line, but I just feel like someone like Mike Tyson who could sit down in his shots, probably would have had him out of there in 3 rounds.
Really sorry if you're not hearing kids. Yeah, I'm at my brother-in-law's, so all the family's here.
I won't worry about it. Mine are locked in the cellar. Anyway, Base the kid has put you were wrong. Base is he's good at breaking down his boxing. Basically, elaborate in the comments, because that one sentence, you were wrong about what? Because I think he's obviously saying about AJ being able to knock him out. I don't know. A corner advice, yeah, we can sit here all day, but I've learned that I guess I can sit here all day and give my 50 pence worth, but I'm not a second. I'm not a coach. And I can sit here and say what I would have done. I'm not a boxer. Do you know what I mean? I don't, just looking at it from the outwards in, to me, he just looked hesitant, like he just didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
Like I said, conflicting information, whatever it is, who knows? But you can see that venom in him now. He's angry, and he's got that venom, and I think he needed that. I think you need that venom.
And don't get us wrong, don't get me wrong, even now, yeah, he needs that venom, he needs that that aggression to that style. But I'd still, if they fight again, I'll still say the same thing. AJ knocks him out, or he gets outboxed. And
you reckon?
Maybe if he uses too much of that aggression and his skills, his skill goes out the window, then that might play into Usyk's hands even more. He might just sit on the back foot, hit a move, and frustrate him. Joshua, I think he struggles with movement, don't he? He's quite stiff.
Yes, he's stiff.
So I feel like that could play in. So again, my opinion on that fight is still the same, but I just feel that Usyk is there to be knocked out, just because I just feel like he's a natural cruiserweight, and he's got very straight legs.
Well, then what do you think? All right, then you put Chisora's performance with Usyk and AJ's performance with Usyk. Who boxed better against
Chisora?
Usyk?
Massively. Chisora giving more problems than AJ. Chisora was that far away from knocking him out.
And everyone was saying, "Oh, look how many shots Chisora missed and this, that, blah, blah, whatever." But look at what he actually did do. And now, like I said, you're only as good as your last opponent. Now maybe Chisora can get some respect for the performance that he did put in, because a lot of people didn't really give him the respect that he deserved, and were saying, "Oh, he was missing all the shots." But you saw Usyk's face at the post presser after Chisora fought him. Chisora was catching him. And now you look at the two performances and you'll say now, wow, actually, you know what, Chisora? Give him his respect, give him his flowers. I'm just looking at this comment here. Joshua had an ego trip, in my opinion. Rather than make the adjustments like great fighters do to win, he was ignorant enough to ignore Usyk's boxing skill and believe he could for a full 12 rounds.
Maybe
he was never gonna. He was just never gonna outbox him, was he? But he said that.
You go back to what you said before about his corner. I believe, he's getting wrong. He was definitely getting, it's like his corner are telling him to throw double jab backhands. Like he's a welterweight and he's a boxer. When really what his corner should have been saying is, right, listen, you need to start pressing now. Get the head moving. Start sitting on your legs, bending them legs. And start maybe jab downstairs and letting them shots go over the top, bring his hands down.
Overhand,
not go out there and box him as if that's the information you tell a fighter if he was fighting a pressure fighter, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't, he could never outbox a boxer, AJ can't he's not, for me anyway, he's not a boxer, he's a heavyweight, and his power and his aggression is his best attribute.
Yeah.
He's a puncher, so I do feel he was getting told the wrong information, but still at that level, I feel he should have knew himself. When you're a fighter, when you're down, when something's not working. He should have half knew himself to think, you know what, I'm gonna get my hands up now, and I'm gonna press.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And
look for
you've got to have that. Yeah, you've got to have that IQ yourself to say, you know what, I need to start reading. Try and start reading this fighter and knowing what I need to do to get out of there. Basie's putting in his 50 pence worth in. And when I say that the face doesn't really tell the full story, it tells a bit of a story, because a lot of people said that Usyk was missing and the fact that he wasn't connecting. So those marks weren't just appearing on Usyk's face. Chisora was actually catching him, is what the point that I'm getting at. So Chisora did do a good job, in my opinion. Usyk was banking on AJ being even more aggressive than he was. He even said in the post-fight interviews he was expecting a harder fight, and he welcomes a more aggressive AJ in the rematch. Well, he will do. He's going to welcome anything because he's got the confidence now to believe that he will win again. Why wouldn't he? He's going to welcome any AJ that comes because he believes he's got the talent to win. That's just, I don't know. Yeah, big boss man, I agree. We've got to make the fight dirty. But anyway, we could sit here and debate this unknowns, do you know what I mean, until the cows come home. But listen, we're running, I don't know, I've been running for about an hour now. Dean has obviously had his connection problems, but the fight is in Surbiton in Greater London on Saturday, the 6th of November. Myself, Ben will be on commentary. Huss will be doing the MCing. We've got some good fighters on the card. There's going to be some good fights there. If you can get tickets, look on Black Box Global on Instagram. Contact Dean White for tickets. Contact the fighters if you know any of the fighters. I've got Tony Banj, Zigstar, George Mitchell, Aaron Prosper, Alf Clegg, Adrian Redmond, and Luke Fearon. Those are the fighters that I know about. Get in contact, support the small horse shows. Give these guys the opportunity that they deserve to eventually end up on the big stage. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining in. Those in the chat, thank you for staying. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to do this again, but until the next time, adios.
Awesome. Thank you.
See you all Saturday.
See you Saturday.
Take care. See you later.
Yeah.